he is. What's up, everybody? It is Monday night, October 19th, 2020. We are back once again. This is Breakfast Soup Raw. I am Don Tony, as always, your podfather. And join along with me tonight is...
Anthony Missionary Thomas. What's going on there, DT?
What's going on? Not too much. Not too much. Welcome back.
Yeah. I took a little bit of a hiatus there. Went back and forth to Chicago, and I'll probably be jumping back to Chicago soon again. And just being on the road pretty much all week has made everything a little bit difficult, but it's really cool, though, to actually take the drive right now. It's insane watching all the fall colors. Yeah. Watching the snow come in different parts, like in Rockford tonight, it's snowing. And it's kind of neat, man.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Very cool. Very cool. I wish you nothing but the best, and you know I'm here if I can help you in any way. Just
sure.
Everything but money. Hey, you know why I'm laughing so much? Not at you, but I swear to God, I have a couple of customers from the neighborhood, and about maybe 2 years ago, I had a livery guy, this Jamaican guy that was giving me a real hard time in the office. But I've dealt with difficult customers before. You know, it's not a big deal. And, you know, we're going back and forth about something with, you know, an accident he had that wasn't covered. Then, he leaves. And my customer who's sitting in the waiting room, who's from the neighborhood, he comes up to me and he's like, with the Robert De Niro face, he's going like, "You need me to do anything? You know, you need anything? Right. You know, you want me to take care of it?" And I'm looking at him, I'm like, No. I go through that all the time. And meanwhile, in the back of my mind, I'm like, what does he mean? Like, take care of it, you know? But then, you know, after that, I usually get the same follow-up comment from people in the neighborhood, like, look, you ever have a problem, give me a call. I'll take care of it. I'll do anything for you. The only thing I can't give you is money.
Right.
Oh, and by the way, you know, just for people that are already taking note of this shirt, this was a hard one to find. I hug people that I hate. This way I know how big to dig the hole in my backyard. Digging holes and taking souls. Soul Train. Oh, man. I'm trying to get myself in a good mood because I got to tell you, man, this episode of Raw Season Premiere, we got El Grande Fato, Otis, under a mask, which, you know, we've seen that before, Mr. America and this and that. But the thing is, you just did the draft. You have Otis and Tucker split. So why reintroduce that relationship after you just did this whole storyline that they were splitting? And then even worse, although I still consider it an upgrade, you split up the Iiconics just to have Peyton Royce tonight team up with Lacey Evans. I mean, look, I got a couple of DMs tonight that were similar in comedic content that's saying like, you know, Peyton Royce, you know, getting rid of one mediocre tag partner and for maybe someone as an upgrade. Where have I heard that before? I'm like, no, stop it.
How crappy does Billy Kay feel tonight?
Oh, yeah. I can't stand the Iiconics. I hated that tag team. Right. You know, because it was all fluff and promo, and I've said many times, and I'm sorry if it offends people, but if they weren't from the country they were from, and they were just from Idaho, and had that kind of ability, maybe they would have gotten over for a little while with the promos and stuff, but after a while, it's just like, you know, they were not very good, and here you got Peyton Royce. You know, you want to keep that memory of being a tag team partner on the sidelines. And here is the season premiere. Maybe she gets a solo opportunity or something. And no, you tag her up with a tag partner again. It's like...
Well, that entire tag team match was goofy anyways. It came out of nowhere. It was literally just Nia's sitting out there challenging everyone. And then for absolutely no reason, all these tag teams came out, set up a match. I wasn't even sure right off the bat if it was for the title or not. It just it was very sloppy tonight. There was a lot of weird things that were happening tonight. I was really upset with the Hurt Business.
Really?
Yeah, really stupid moves. I mean, look, when they were going up against Retribution tonight, the audience was pumped in as cheering for the Hurt Business. And it's funny how later on in the same evening, they beat the crap out of Titus O'Neil after talking about what a community leader he is, what an upstanding guy, and everything else like that. It's like, choose one or the other. Please just pick a fucking side. You guys don't make sense. It doesn't make sense the direction of the Hurt Business. And while, look, I understand that they don't want Titus O'Neil in the group. That's fine. Did they have to do a physical beatdown? Like, what does that say? So,
Yeah.
I mean, if we're to sit there and take the Hurt Business at face value, these guys are heels no matter what. So are we supposed to believe that Retribution was the good guys?
No. In fact, Austin, I'll get into your comment in a second. I'll tell you, when I said a couple of weeks ago that when Ali cuts his promo as far as why he's in Retribution, it's got to stand out. It can't just be disgruntled, not getting opportunity, and blah, 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 blah. Now, tonight, they finally buried the hacker storyline. In passing, he reveals he was Creepy Ali all along. He was the hacker, which, it's what it is. What it is. That's the Emma too. 20 some odd weeks to lead to. Oh, by the way, I was the hacker, but I don't even think people picked up on this. I know she was never formally introduced, and I know she was never physically given a name. But the fact that they decided to have Mercedes Martinez in this group, and who knows, it could still happen, but the fact that they had her, on the most important reveals, when they first started talking, when they were in the back, and they identified everybody who was behind the mask. And then you have Ali cutting a promo tonight saying that these people you see, they've been burned, they have been teased, they have not been given opportunity. And as I'm watching this and letting it go in through my ears, I'm thinking to myself, and what the fuck did you do to Mercedes Martinez? You kicked her to the curb. The whole Retribution storyline is really awful. It's awful. I don't have any issue with Ali being the leader, but they lost tonight.
Yeah, right.
They lost. And it's like, they're cutting a promo in the back talking about causing chaos. But meanwhile, the referee at some points was trying to get some order in the ring. And you saw some of the wrestlers in Retribution, leave the ring. And it's like, you can't have it both ways. You can't have Retribution tagging out, following the rules, and then causing chaos. That's like if I'm going to break into someone's house, I'm going to ring the doorbell first. I'm going to ring the doorbell. Right, I'm going to knock on the door. I'm going to be like, hello, listen, I'm going to break in. So I'm going to just do everything right first and be polite about it. Man, I wanted to like this storyline. The only thing that I am left enjoying about it is the fact that Dijakovic, Madden, Thorne, and Yim all are on the main roster now. So
I don't know how much longer this is going to go. I'm still underneath the idea that you were right when you were talking about Raw Underground having an attachment to Retribution, whereas it made a lot of sense when you were bringing up points before that Raw Underground was where Shane McMahon was recruiting these people to be in Retribution, and that made sense. And now that Raw Underground is gone, I'm not sure how far we go with Retribution. We just had them lose tonight. I don't see any real force behind them. Their storyline is vapid at best. I don't know. I mean, yeah, you're right. We have these great talents up on the main roster, but I don't see this group going very, very much further at all.
Yeah. I think it goes at least to Survivor Series. There's got to be a Survivor Series match.
I was thinking after this month, we wouldn't talk about them anymore.
You know what? We may end up seeing the Hurt Business. You know what? Now I'm starting to think about it. Maybe Retribution gets a win next week against the Hurt Business, or maybe the week after, or they get some retaliation. And this leads to maybe a Survivor Series match of the Hurt Business versus Retribution. That could end up being what it is. I don't like it. I mean, it kind of gives a feud right now, which, you know, the Hurt Business obviously needs a feud. I mean, I'm just sick and tired of, you know, Ricochet, you know, contemplating if he's going to join or not, and Apollo Crews, smiley, you know, that needs to go aside. So, you know, I think it goes to at least Survivor Series. Then after that, you know, we'll see what happens. But I will tell you, Ali's got to act more like a leader and not the mic piece, you know, right. Because he's just standing in front of everyone and he's talking. And he's, you know, I mean, they put this cute picture online. I don't know if you saw this. I kind of like this picture. I actually think it looks pretty cool. Oh, but the funny thing about it is, if you look this mask up close, I know people are going to laugh at me when I say this, but if I told you that's Seth Rollins under the mask, you probably would have thought that it is. Only Seth Rollins doesn't have like tits like that. You know, his chest is a little small.
Right,
you know? Right. I mean, Ali's got 205 live tits. You know, Seth Rollins is a little bigger than that. But, you know, I just, he's got to act more like a leader. They got to be taking orders from him. I mean, I know he's giving him opportunity, but he's got to be like a different version of Seth Rollins, you know, the Messiah. Like, Ali's got to be his own Messiah for the misused and abused. And I haven't seen that yet.
I don't see Ali as being a leader type. The guy just doesn't have the presence to be a guy that can lead people like this. I don't see it. I mean, you're right. I could be, you know, mistaken, if you will.
Mistaken.
And, yeah.
Misunderstood.
And maybe turn it around, but I just don't see it. I don't see Ali being this grand presence that's going to make Retribution any kind of a force within WWE. I just don't see it. Yeah. I think the best thing that you can do at this point is write this group off as fast as possible and make sure that none of the stink hangs around all the people that have come up for it. So,
yeah. So we will see what happens. We will see what happens. I wanted to post to Austin Kinkle. He hopes they don't do a screwy finish in Hell in the Cell. That would be the third year in a row. Oh my God! You know what's interesting? You know, anybody that follows my shows for a long time, I have pointed out where there is a specific time in 2018 where Raw's ratings really started to take a direction for the worst. And if anybody, you know, that follows me already knows what I'm about to say, but if you go back to 2018, after Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns in that cell, when it basically went to the no contest, didn't Brock interfere or something like that? And after that, just look at the ratings before Hell in a Cell and after Hell in a Cell. And, you know, WWE has a habit of these clusterfuck finishes. It's in a cell. I don't know if somebody gets involved or not, but I hope that there's a clear-cut winner. I expect some crazy things happening with the tools. You know, if you remember what they did that time with Jeff Hardy, and you might see somebody getting their nose like pulled up with pliers or something like that. It's going to be brutal, but I don't know. We're not doing Hell in a Cell predictions tonight, everybody, for two reasons. Number one, there's technically only 3 confirmed matches, maybe 4 if we put Elias versus Jeff Hardy, which is probably going to happen.
Right.
On SmackDown, they're going to confirm some more matches. So predictions are going to be towards the end of the week. But as of right now, and, you know, I bragged, I'm not going to lie, in the last 43 pay-per-view matches, I'm 41-2 with predictions. And I have predicted McIntyre winning every time leading up to now. This is the first time all year since he's won the belt that I'm really thinking to myself, you know what? I think this might be Orton's time. Do you think McIntyre has any shot of pulling it off again against Randy? I just can't see that many pay-per-view main events where McIntyre ends up on top against Orton. I just feel this one might be it.
I've written off McIntyre for a while now. You know, he's a tragic champion. It's the best way I look at him.
The COVID champion.
And kudos to you. Kudos to you for being able to call his career even in the middle of this entire, you know, pandemic and stuff like that, and the way that everything has changed for wrestling as well as the fans. But pretty much he is the COVID champion. He is a tragic champion. His championship will be forgotten if he's lucky. And maybe down the road he'll be able to, you know, regain status and become a good champion or become a champion that he was supposed to be. But, I mean, as far as, you know, you saying that you've been behind him and stuff like that, I have not. I have not been a big Drew McIntyre fan. I have not been in his corner. I've wanted to like the guy, but, you know, considering that all the circumstances that has gone on, his storylines seem pretty lackluster. He's trying to perform for people when there's no one around. And granted, even though the Thunderdome is something now, that didn't cover a majority of his, you know, his title reign. So I don't know. I mean, the idea that Randy might walk out of it over Drew, I'm for it at this point. I think Drew needs to lose the title. I think he's needed to lose the title for a minute now. But at the same time, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Or if you don't want anybody else broken, don't give it to them. So that's kind of like the MO of what's been going on with Drew's run.
Yeah, exactly.
If Randy Orton wins, good for him. But I don't think Drew should hold on to it anyway. So. Yeah,
the only thing that's stopping me, I mean, I'll make my prediction at the end of the week, but the only thing that's stopping me right now as far as Randy winning is who does he feud with next? That's the only thing that I'm just a little undecided with. So I got to look at the roster up and down and really think about it during the week.
You don't see like maybe a repeat with him and Bray?
Possible. It's very possible. I mean, Bray tonight, you know, when we'll get into the Raw recap in a couple of moments. Bray tonight, it was interesting. You know, they had him, you know, almost being a baby face.
Right.
And with the Alexa Bliss stuff, you know, it adds a little dynamic. Now she's in the Firefly Funhouse. You know, again, for everyone out there, she's going to remain Alexa Bliss. She's not going to have a name change. I mean, you know, it's not that Bray, they would have done this storyline already if Bray thought that was Sister Abigail. You know, right. You know, I mean, she's a female character in this storyline right now. I'm enjoying it tremendously. As I've said before, not every character on a show has to be in the ring, and she has had a history of some concussions, and, you know, she's had a hard time battling through them. So having a 6-month storyline where she doesn't wrestle anywhere near as what she would under different circumstances, that'll be healthy for her. That'll prolong her career. It adds a different dynamic to The Fiend and Bray Wyatt. So I welcome it. I absolutely welcome it. And we found out tonight that Ramblin' Rabbit, he's got pussy. He's got a missus, a wife. He's got a pussy. No, he doesn't have a pussy. I don't mean it like, you know, that he's got 2 organs. Right. We found out tonight that Ramblin' Rabbit is married. So are we going to ever see his wife on TV? Ramblin' Rabbit. Ramblin' Rabbit.
You got it.
I don't think he's going to be having any little baby rabbits anytime soon, but good for you, man. High five. But I'm just trying to have a little fun. This episode of Raw was very confusing. It was a hot mess. I honestly think this was a hot mess version of Monday Night Raw. A hot mess. Not everything was bad, but it was a hot mess.
No, there was a couple of good things. I think it was interesting that Elias came out there with the whole band. I thought that.
What'd you think of that?
You know what? Good for him. As much as we've joked about it before, back when Elias was out there performing, and everybody said, why doesn't this guy? If this guy's actually got chops and stuff like that, why doesn't he do something? And all of a sudden tonight, they kind of gave us a taste of that. I don't know. I was
impressed.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm not sure where they're going to go with it. Are they going to have a battle of the bands with Jeff Hardy and Elias?
You know what? Jeff has been saying that his music, he's going to bring back his other intro, his other entrance theme. Maybe they end up doing a battle of the bands. That's actually, and you know what? I think you just nailed it on the head, because why would Elias introduce a band? If he's got an upcoming, disc coming out, or, iTunes album, whatever it is, you just focus on Elias, not the band. So I think you're onto something. I think we may actually see, Jeff Hardy with his No More Words versus Elias doing his theme. Look, the guy's talented. I mean, obviously we all would rather see Elias in the ring and not singing all the time, but, it's Elias's career in WWE, putting injury aside for a minute, his career on the main roster has been very interesting, because they spent more time, hello everyone, I'm Elias. I sound like Doc from Back to the Future. Yeah. Marty! No, but, we had more time of him doing his Gadar thing in the ring, making fun of everybody, than actual wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no,
well, that was kind of the gimmick, too, was that he would always get interrupted. So that was kind of the thing. And whoever interrupted him all of a sudden got an easy, crowd pop. So that's what worked at the time. But now they're going to try something different. I think it's an interesting idea to give him a little time to actually play the guitar, to actually play some music and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's going to become like a battle of the bands, but I can absolutely see that.
Yeah.
Where you do have Jeff Hardy and I forgot which songs that he's played. He's got a few songs and stuff. He's got a band. So that'll be interesting. It'll be interesting if they go on that route.
If Jeff wants to impress me, I want him to do his music, but I also want him to be dressed as Willow when he does it. I want him to come out there, no more words. I want him to be Willow, sing as Willow. Impress me, motherfucker. Do something that I haven't seen before. It's like throwing everything in a blender, mixing it all together. Impress me. But, just get back to before about Randy Orton and Drew. Brandon Jones disagrees. He's behind Drew. He doesn't think Randy's going to win. The only problem he has is WWE has to stop the storyline. This storyline is ending after Hell in a Cell. Yeah. This formula is more of WWE's blueprint over the years. You have a storyline, you have a match, it leads to a more complicated match, stipulation, another stipulation, and then the culmination, in this case, is Hell in a Cell. Back in the day, you'd have a regular match, maybe another minor stipulation, and it would end with the cage match. That would be the formula back in the day. The only way I see possibly Randy Orton getting this is, possibly a clusterfuck finish. Somebody may have to come out there and cause Drew the loss, and also beat Drew beyond recognition. So Drew is forced to focus his, eye on someone else for, pardon my French, retribution. I'm not saying Retribution will attack Drew McIntyre, but something, I don't know. I mean, we're going to have to wait and see. I mean, when things are not predictable, that's when it's at its best. But, I'm a little concerned. I'm a little concerned about their match on Sunday. And Brandon also says he's watching Raw Talk right now, and he said Nikki was calling out to Alexis. So, yeah, so we're probably going to have what I said a couple of weeks ago where, Lexi, what are you doing? Lexi, what are you doing? The only thing is, Do you think there's any chance Nikki Cross could join Retribution? Maybe that's why they pulled out Mercedes Martinez. And maybe that's why they had Fiend get involved with Retribution. Could it be possible that Nikki Cross joins Retribution? Would you want to see that?
Do you think they'd sacrifice Bray for a Bliss versus Nikki Cross storyline? I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't really see it. I think they had that opportunity when they still had Braun involved in the storyline.
Yeah, maybe with Braun, but I don't see Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross being such a draw that they would put Bray to focus on it. I don't know. It seems a little backwards to me.
Yeah, see, Alexa Bliss, when she's on the Firefly Funhouse, if you notice, well, we all see it, the Bray Wyatt character, when he's in the Firefly Funhouse, he's, okay, bye. Like he's smiling, he's having fun. Alexa Bliss in the Funhouse is going to be bright and sunny and, cheerful. So the kids in the background, aww. I fucking hate that sound effect. I want it to burn out. Every time, yay, blah, 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 blah. Aww. It's so annoying. But I could picture Alexa Bliss being blissful towards Nikki when she's part of the Funhouse. But when she's away from the Funhouse, like when she's with Bray, bright sunny days. But when she's with the Fiend, dark, let him in. So the Nikki Cross storyline will probably have to do with what environment Alexa Bliss is in at the time. Right. So I don't mind it. Look, it's something a little bit different. I'll give it a shot. Speaking of shots, tonight, Lana got 2 minutes with Asuka. I never tweeted about it. I know you didn't either. I don't know why for the last 7 days, it's almost the same as people tweeting constantly and being triggered about Goldberg being on Thunderdome on an LED panel. I mean, how it triggered people. I mean, now I think they all look like goons and they realize it. But you think they would learn with the Lana stuff. A week ago, I said that, for everyone out there, because people I know you were on the road last week, but I had said last Monday, I said, look, everybody, some people thought, WWE's stopping the plates of shit and maybe finally giving Lana an opportunity. There was some people out there that actually thought Lana had a chance of winning it, that maybe this is a little shot to Miro, that now she's going to actually be a little bit more on the food chain than him. And I said last week, I'm like, everyone, if you look at what they have done to Lana for the last 6 weeks especially, there is nothing on the trend that would make me think that suddenly they're going to stop that and do something different. I said last week, this is going to be a squash. And I think I even said last week that she's not even going to get her moment, that something else is going to happen immediately, a la Seth Rollins coming out during Mickie James's first match back in a year. I don't know why people just talked about it over and over and over and over and over again. What we got tonight, unfortunately, for some, is what should have happened. Lana, she is working her ass off, trying. I know you and I are fans of hers. And for the 2 minutes that she got, it reminded me of Zelina Vega. Zelina Vega got 7 in her title match. So I give Zelina Vega a little more credit. But, Lana has a little bit of a chip on her shoulders. And I thought for the 2 minutes, she didn't embarrass herself. She didn't do bad. She had no shot whatsoever. I just don't know why people, I don't know if they intentionally clickbaited all week long just for conversation, or if they truly just missed the point on this. It was much ado about nothing.
Yeah, I think it was just an overreaction. Overreaction. I mean, WWE even kind of confirmed that Lana does have a place right now because she still has her comeuppance going with Natalya. And they kind of made it, when they start showing, recaps of her interfering in Natalia's match, you kind of figure that that's WWE's way of saying, look, we're furthering the storyline by reminding you that this is still part of what's going on. So she's not gone. She's not going to be removed from the company or anything like that. I think that overreaction was just what it was. And she still does have a storyline invested in the company. Now, I understand why people are unhappy with the direction she's taken in her career. And it seems like she's kind of taken a back burner because she was with Bobby Lashley. She was always on TV every week. And now it almost feels like that she's an afterthought. But that's what happens. Some people take an afterthought while other people come back, like Lacey Evans, like other people,
But you know what? Last week I made this point too. Lana may be having the time of her life right now. I know as wrestling fans, you may not get that, but she's being put through a table 5 straight weeks or whatever it is, and it's kind of a running joke now. But for all we know, it's not like, look, I've been put through tables. All right, I've been put through tables with 500 thumbtacks on them. I can tell you, getting put through a table, if done the right way, I know this is going to sound weird to people out there, but anybody that's ever, even if you suck like I did, I was abysmal. I was terrible in wrestling stuff that I did. But I will tell you that anybody that's ever done matches like that, I have a feeling you'll understand why I say this. For me, it was an adrenaline rush. I don't want to say it was orgasmic, but it was an adrenaline rush for me. When I got put through tables, I sat there, acting unconscious, and I'm saying to myself at the moment, man, this fucking feels great right now. So I know her character is buried, obviously, but, she may, under the circumstances, may be having the time of her life right now. You don't know. You don't know. I mean, if she shows signs of it online, or if she ends up getting let go and she looks back at this and says that she was miserable and they kept taking Miedo stuff out on her, that's different. But I have seen 0 signs from her anywhere, or even Miedo. Has anybody really seen any signs from Miedo that Lana is just having a miserable time right now in WWE? I have not seen that. So I don't think any of us should jump the gun and assume that how she's being used, that she hates it right now. I'd rather see her have that than not to be put on TV at all, if that makes sense.
Right.
So, listen, before we go any further, I know a lot of you out there have realized now the one thing that we do on our shows that is different from everyone else out there is we pay respects to people who have fallen in wrestling that may not have been well known or even heard of here. I mean, unfortunately, we had the suicide last week of Ryan Smile, and it's sad. It's sad to see so many people in the news and podcasting world that just never mentioned it. That's why, like I say, I don't mean to sound like an asshole right now, but 3/4 of the people that were all, emotionally devastated by Hana Kimura's death didn't know who the fuck she was, but they just, like, every other word out of their mouth was, we got to be better, we got to be better, we got to be better. Mental health, got to get along. Hana Kimura, got to. So now you get Ryan Smile, 30 years old last week, does the same thing. Not a fucking mention almost anywhere. So I want to pay a little tribute tonight just for 2 seconds, because unfortunately this gentleman has not had the career of others, but I still wanted to mention it. Luis Angel Salazar wrestled in Mexico as Príncipe Aereo. He died yesterday, I believe, in the ring at the age of 26 years old. There is footage of what happened online. I didn't want to see it, but I ended up watching it, and it's really, really sad. Just to make a summary of what happened, he had an aneurysm. If anybody remembers, I don't know if it was 1993, but we had the death of Oro, and he was only maybe 21, and he was in either a tag or a 6-man tag, and he just collapsed outside the ring, and before he could even go to the hospital, he was dead. Similar situation. This circumstance is a little different. In this match, he had taken a couple of chops, and then he fell awkwardly. Not a typical fall, like when you go down from taking a chop or something. And his opponent was like hovering over him. I guess his tag partner didn't at first realize that something was wrong and tried to, hit the other opponent. Then immediately realized that something was not right. And they rushed him to the hospital, but unfortunately he was pronounced dead. So, rest in peace, 26 years old, just absolutely terrible. And, some of you on Friday, when we were talking about some of the passings last week, some of you said, deaths in threes, who's going to be number 3? Now you got it. So I just wanted to just pay a little respects, because unfortunately he hasn't had any real high-profile matches to talk about, but I still wanted to make mention of it. So, yeah, 26 years old, way too young, way too young. So we could move on. I know to maybe some brighter and more happy things. Maybe we could talk about this. We got Otis back. El Gran Pigo. What did they call him? I'm trying to remember. They called him El Gran. Oh, man. I have it written down somewhere. El Gran Gordo. Look, again, I don't mind that they put Otis under a mask as a storyline. They did it with Hogan. They did it with Dusty back in the day. They've done it with others. The problem is I thought they were going to give Tucker a whole new identity. He's still coming out to heavy machinery music. Hell, I even wanted to talk to you about this last week. Unfortunately, we couldn't do a show together, but I thought maybe Tucker joins Retribution. Seriously.
Really?
Wears a different outfit. Maybe shaves his beard. Maybe, because look, I brought this up, because I try to use logic sometimes.
Sure.
Smackdown, when they did the draft, and I brought this up already, on their Twitter feed, they put Tucker and Otis and put a emoji of a broken heart. And everybody was responding to the tweet like, oh, that's so sad. They're broken apart. Why did this happen? To that? And in storyline, I'm looking at this and I'm saying, wait a minute. The WWE on Fox Twitter account tweeted that. In storyline, you were the motherfuckers that drafted Otis without Tucker.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it didn't make any sense. So because Tucker has been kind of misused and, just basically thrown to the curb with the Otis storyline, I thought, hey, maybe kind of like what they did with, was it Phineas Godwin that time? Oh, no, it was Mark Canterbury. When he was, like the hillbilly with the slop. And then you know what I mean? What do you think? Am I reaching over here a little bit?
A little bit. I think you're reaching a little bit. I don't see. I don't see the comparison.
Warning.
In Retribution, man. I just can't see it. It just doesn't seem like Tucker would be a good fit for that. Although that is a funny.
Just thinking outside the box a little bit. Yeah. Because I'm thinking to myself right now, what do you do with this guy? Does he become like an Otis version of Raw, a Raw version of Otis? He has no tag partner. They even mocked it on TV today with Miz and Morrison and telling him go find a tag partner, and they're laughing at him. And, people online were saying, oh, maybe Ricochet. And I'm saying to myself, this is the state that Tucker is in right now. Like, they just made him look like an absolute joke on Raw. And yes, he came out with Otis, and they ended up defeating Miz and Morrison. But what I was left with after that tonight is they don't have a clue of what to do with Tucker now without Otis.
Right. Which, if anything, what they should have done was taken him off TV. They shouldn't have made him part of the storyline then. But you know what? They're going to continue the Otis thing. So Tucker still has a job or use until this Otis storyline goes away, disappears, goes back to SmackDown, whatever they plan on doing with it. But until then, like when that's all done and wrapped up, yeah, take him off TV. Maybe give him a chance to become something else. Maybe make him a new member of the Wyatt family. I don't know. You know, like there's other ways you can use Tucker. You know, I just don't think that if you're gonna take him away from Otis, that you leave him just be Tucker without Otis. That's just stupid. You know.
As far as seeing Otis in a mask like Rick Rude as the Phantom, Ken, terminated by DQ. I don't know how long they're going to do this running joke with Otis under the mask. If you want to have this run further, then maybe Tucker shows up on SmackDown under a mask. You know what I mean? But the question then is, what Sami Zayn is not a tag wrestler right now, and they kind of planted the seed that maybe Otis and Sami Zayn may be doing a program. So a tag team would have to call out Otis on SmackDown, and he brings out, you know, I don't know, El Hero Hippo, you know, like Tucker is under the mask this time. I don't know if this is going to be an ongoing thing like Mr. America.
Right.
You know, if there was live fans in attendance, I could see it. I could see Otis lifting the mask and revealing to everyone. But the difference is, like, Vince and everybody else at that time were acting like, you know, well, I shouldn't say it like this, but the announcers were trying to convince some people, have a little doubt, like, maybe that's not Hogan. You know, but tonight, Miz is like, you know, that's Otis under a mask. There was no dispute of it. You know what I mean? So how does WWE on Fox feel about this in storyline? You know what I mean? That he's on Raw. I don't understand why they had SmackDown stars on Raw tonight. We didn't even talk about it yet. The fucking Riot Squad.
Right. I told you, it doesn't matter. This draft has been it's a formality at this point. The draft holds no weight like it used to. I mean, it's not even as dedicated as the superstar shakeup. You know, it's a formality, and you see that with the Riot Squad being there. You see that with the fact that you had Lana out there, and they were showing Natalya, who's on SmackDown, like was pointed out earlier. Yeah. But they're showing, you know, their feud on SmackDown. So yeah, this draft thing is smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know what, let's talk about Raw. Let's fill in some of the blanks. We got a new bodyguard tonight. Yeah, when we get to that, we'll get to it very, very quickly. I'm very curious to how you feel about that. But basically, Raw, we got to mention this too. Raw has a new intro now, new music, new video. For anyone out there that wants to check out the song itself, it's called "The Search" by a rapper by the name NF. Some people think he's Eminem's brother. That's actually a Google question and answer because I was trying to get a little research on him as well. This song has been out for a little over a year, and that is the name of the song that WWE is using now for Raw. So I thought the song was okay. You know, I don't mind, you know, them switching it up a little bit. You know, maybe it's an annual thing now. We might have an annual thing. Whenever there's a season premiere, we may get new music, new intro.
Good.
So,
I mean, that means it's changing up more than most of the wrestlers' music, so that's good.
Raw opens tonight with The Fiend and Alexa Bliss. First, it was Alexa Bliss. The red lights are on, like you. And, you know, she's in the ring and in, like, real Fiend voice, let him in. And then all the lights go out. Fiend is in the ring. And the Fiend and Alexa Bliss are just stoic. Just staring into space. Next thing you know, Retribution's music hits. Or lights, whatever, banners. They surround the ring. And we hear them, let's get him, let's get him. And they climb up to the apron, and you have Alexa Bliss and Fiend not blinking, acting like no one is there. And I actually tweeted this, and I know some of you saw it, and I deleted it 2 minutes later because I'm not one to just, not going to get into the habit about commenting on every little fart on Raw, because then you start getting into a complain orgy. And if Raw sucks that much that you're tweeting about it 55 times, then why you're watching it? There's World Series on. You know what I mean? There's other things on, and there's a lot of stuff on. There's porn. But when they surrounded the ring, I said, the lights are going to go off. Then they're going to come back on. Where are they? Where are they? And it's exactly what happened.
Of course.
Like I said, they're planting the seed of something with the Fiend and Retribution. It kind of felt thrown together, but that's not a sure lock guarantee that Retribution is going to be feuding with the Fiend. But then again, who is he going to feud right now? Look at the roster right now. Who could you think Bray's going to feud with right now? I think they have a dilemma.
I mean, it really goes back to the Orton and Drew thing. I think Orton and Bray could have something going if Orton walks away with his title. And then you have to worry about what Drew's going to do. Maybe Drew does. Maybe they have a three-way match. But Orton Bray being out there tonight taking out Retribution, I thought it was more of a show of dominance. I don't see it as being a big thing for some kind of a feud between Bray Wyatt and Retribution. I looked at it as a way for Bray to look stronger, so that when he does face other people, maybe with a title down the road, he looks like more of a force as opposed to kind of a joke that he's been painted as over the years. I think it's only recently that WWE has finally started to turn the corner on the way that the perception of Bray Wyatt. Let's not make any mistakes about it. Bray Wyatt is a loser. He's lost so many matches, and the fact that he's still viable in this company is amazing. The fact that he's even still talked about as a credible guy to hold the championship is amazing. And I think stuff like Retribution has to happen for guys like Bray Wyatt so that they don't keep that stigma of losing every single time they have an opportunity to win.
Don't you call him a loser?
He's still one of my favorites. He's still one of my favorites.
But you have to acknowledge that man lost a lot of matches. Lost a lot of big matches in his career. Like betting on
the Cena
Wyatt
feud was not this WrestleMania, years past.
Right. Yeah, it's just not good.
Yeah. Brandon thinks they should stop, change the storyline. Riot Squad is a tag team, and any woman tag team can wrestle the tag team champs. Oh, yeah, that's exactly why they did that tonight. They tried to play it off that since Nia and Shayna are the tag champs for both brands, that anybody could challenge them for those with those titles, which is right. That's the way it's always been. The reason why you got the Riot Squad on TV tonight was because they tried to fit 2 pounds of bologna in a 1 pound bag. Tell you what I mean. They could have easily just had tonight Lacey Evans and Peyton Royce, Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose against Nia and Shayna in a 3 tag team match. There was no need to have a 4-way. The thing is that WWE did not want to have Shayna and Nia on SmackDown to have the Riot Squad match to possibly lead to the pay-per-view on Sunday. Look, right now they don't have a match for Sunday. If they show up on SmackDown and if the Riot Squad ends up getting into it with them again, you now had 2 times this week where the Riot Squad got into it with Shayna and Nia. They didn't want to introduce something on Friday where it's only 2 days before the pay-per-view and then suddenly a match is thrown together. So by doing this tonight also, if they're going to set up Riot Squad versus Shayna and Nia, when they do it on Friday, it's like a continuation of tonight. If they don't do it, then, all right, since SmackDown is just a 2-hour show instead of 3, we don't have to waste time with doing this on Friday, if people understand what I mean. I think that's the reason why they did it. Because, honestly, there was no need. There was absolutely no need for the Riot Squad, because all that was going to do is make people think less of this draft. You know, people are already in an uproar about Peyton Royce teaming up with someone, which I thought was hilarious, man. I feel bad for Billy Kay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't like Billy Kay, but man, I feel bad for that girl because she's literally watching. What was it? Well, how long were they together? 11 years or something like that, like some crazy amount of time. And it's all gone now. Just let's replace her immediately with Lacey Evans. Why not?
Who knows? Maybe Billy Kay will be in a tag match on Friday and she'll team up with somebody else. I have no idea. You know, all these rumors of Eva Marie coming in. I mean, there is no footage of her putting in the hours in the wrestling school. You know what I mean? There's nothing hinted about that. What is she going to do? Is she going to be a hostess for WWE? I don't know exactly what she is going to do.
Who was the name that was dropped that was training her or something like that? Not Brian Kendrick. That was the old one. There was somebody recently that was name dropped.
Oh man.
Like literally in the last few days.
Yeah, there was 2 names attached to it. Someone in the chat room knows. No, not Ezekiel Jackson. Wasn't it? No.
It was somebody else that's, it's been around for a minute. No, not Lance Storm. Not James Ellsworth.
She's too old for James Ellsworth.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I will look it up. Look, hey.
James Storm. James Storm.
Yes, that's right. There was a picture of James Storm, someone else, and her. I saw that picture, and James Storm, I was like, wow, you're letting your beard go a little bit. He looked disheveled. He looked very old. I saw that picture. It was James Storm and someone else with Eva Marie. Yes. Oh, Ronda. No, wait. Ronda. That was the Ronda Rousey for. Forget the chat. They're having a couple of pints right now and enjoying themselves. But no, that picture was Ronda Rousey. Yes. That was not. You know what? We're spending too much time on Eva Marie. Seriously, fuck that. So getting back to Raw. So we have, and this was a weird placement. Retribution and the Hurt Business are about to have a big match on Raw. And we get interrupted by a Matt Riddle promo. And we find out that Matt Riddle they're doing similar route when Matt Riddle first came to the main roster. Remember when he first came to the main roster and he immediately fought AJ Styles? They did it on Raw tonight with a different outcome, obviously. But I don't know what it is with WWE's obsession with him, and his intro where he flips the sandals off. Like, now we got slow motion, different camera angles of the shoes flying. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that, but they placed that promo right before the Hurt Business. I mean, it just was goofy because I could just imagine everybody on Thunderdome seeing these 8 men in the ring. Retribution, just wants to cause chaos, but no, we have to wait a minute and a half so Matt Riddle's promo could play for the home audience. I thought it was stupid, but in the end, the Hurt Business beats Retribution. Lashley put the T-Bar in the Hurt Lock, and T-Bar taps out.
Yeah. Doesn't look too good, does it?
What am I missing here? I mean, I don't know, man. It's good for Lashley, but horrible for any momentum. I mean, I know, like I said, Dijakovic is on the main roster. Dio Madden is on the main roster. Shane Thorne, I honestly, no disrespect, but I don't give a shit about him yet. Mia Yim, I'm ecstatic. She's on the main roster. So the fact that this is the path they had to take to get on the main roster, okay, so be it. But the whole storyline about Ali being misused for the last year, even being on main event week after week recently, they did it again to Ali tonight because they lost. He got his ass kicked from The Fiend, and he cuts a promo backstage, and just in passing, oh, by the way, I was the hacker all along.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if anybody reads between the lines, but I don't feel like WWE is really gone. And here's the best part. Last week, we expect Ali to tell the world, why did he join Retribution? Why did he create Retribution? Why is he the leader? And because of the draft, we don't even get a speaking appearance last week. And they tried to write it off with Ali saying on social media, bless his heart, I explain it when I'm ready to explain it. No. Not in a episodic soap opera. Who the fuck is
that was
messaging
me.
me?
Sorry.
Oh, no, that's all right.
Sending you something about the Eva Marie training.
Oh, okay. I'm looking at the Carb Cycling Challenge.
Yeah, she has an entire site that she does. She works with, I guess, military personnel. She has her own, basically like her own DDT yoga, where she has her own training gym and exercises and everything else like that. So it's training. She hasn't stopped training, but it looks like it's a lot more of fitness training and bodybuilding training as opposed to wrestling training.
I don't know what this countdown is. Oh, she's just starting. Oh, it's a 30-day challenge starting October 26th. So she's got outside projects also that she's, it's not like, all right, everyone, I'm signing with WWE. I'm going to have to cancel this challenge another time. But
yeah, I wasn't trying to segue the whole thing because the reality, the whole hacker storyline was literally brushed off tonight. And that's pretty much what WWE thinks about it. You know what? Kudos to them for even giving it one line. Because I figured they were just going to blow it off and not even mention it ever again. So,
and just think, this show just did it to Ali also, because Eva Marie hacked our discussion on Retribution. That's cool. That's cool. All right, so now we get AJ Styles.
Yes,
and this was online in the last 24 hours. I honestly didn't know if it was true or not. I'm not going to lie, I wasn't going to talk about it unless I got some concrete confirmation that this was happening. Luckily, we didn't have to wait because AJ Styles comes out, and AJ Styles has a bodyguard. Jordan Omogbehin, I believe it is, Omogbehin. That is Shane McMahon's bodyguard. Early on, he was the ninja, the 7-foot ninja with Tozawa. And now he is the bodyguard for AJ Styles. I loved every minute of it, with the exception of the referee.
But that goes back to what I was talking about before with the referees. It seems like there's a dynamic changing with the referees, going all the way back to the Mickie James stuff, going all the way back to the Humberto stuff. I don't know if it's all planned, if it's all gimmick. I mean, going back to Paul Heyman making fun of Charles Robinson about not knowing why he broke the count. There's been a lot of referee involvement in storylines and matches in ways that they're not normally involved. Not sure if this is on purpose or if this is actually just botches or miscommunicate. But it's interesting that they would tonight, obviously, they had the little back and forth of he wanted him to leave the ring, and instead he said no. And AJ was like, yeah, what do you want me to do? I'm not his boss. He can do whatever the hell he wants, And so the referee started groveling. And it was just like, you're right. And you know what? When he grabbed his hand like that, it shouldn't have been soft. He should have like squeezed the hand and made the referee go down on one knee.
Right.
Because what's he going to do? Kick him out of the match? Well, he's not in the match.
Well, for those that don't know, the referee ordered Jordan. I don't know what they're going to call him, on TV. I don't think they had given him a name, but he orders him to leave the ring so the match could start. He's just looking at the referee. And the referee says, I'm going to count to 5, and if he doesn't leave the ring, AJ Styles is disqualified. So the referee gets 1, 2, and then Jordan holds his hand. Now, when I saw that, I wanted one of two things to happen. My first thought is what I always say about the referees with Randy Orton. No, Randy, no. I wanted to hear, no, Jordan, no. But then when he's doing it, I almost wanted to see the referee go, like writhing in pain, or maybe like a bad movie on the ID channel where a guy's abusing his wife and the husband grabs the wife's arm. You're hurting me. You're hurting me. Like, I wanted something like that, but the referee is just like in a trance. Like he put a spell on him. He's just like, I'm asking you nicely. Please, please. I'm just doing my job. All I needed to hear Elsa is, I've got kids at home. I'm just trying to do my job. Please just leave the ring, sir. Fucking hated it, man. No, Jordan, no. Fucking hated it. But I love, it kind of gave me little flashbacks of Shawn Michaels and early Diesel. The reason why I say that is because early on, when Diesel wasn't even really allowed to talk yet, when Shawn Michaels would come out with Diesel, Shawn Michaels would jump up and go, all right, I dare you to hit me. Like he would hide behind Diesel. He would just be all animated. And I see AJ Styles doing the very same thing with him, and he just stands there like this. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, no, I do too. It's a good mix-up. And you know what? Even the parallels, like you said, between, Shawn Michaels and Diesel, you can easily see those same parallels between AJ and Jordan. Like, more than just the look, but even the actual characters themselves. I mean, AJ Styles and Shawn Michaels was a fantasy matchup for a lot of wrestling fans for many years.
Yeah.
So I can absolutely see the parallels between them. And AJ Styles is a cocky guy. Even his promo tonight was very cocky, very full of himself, and it worked. It worked in his favor. And I like this dynamic, and I want to see more from it. And we'll see how they progress with this group or these guys. So.
BJ, he says, hopefully he doesn't pull a quad like Diesel. Those aren't funny. I mean, injury's an injury, man. But I'm telling you, there's footage of him in NXT. He's a big dude, so he's not Giant Gonzalez territory, meaning that he's just like 7 foot tall tree stump. He actually can move a little bit. Don't expect any flowing match stuff or anything like that. I hope they put him in the Royal Rumble. We'll probably see him have some interaction with Big Show. Big Show will help put him over a little bit. We might end up seeing some interaction down the line with him and Keith Lee, maybe him and Braun Strowman. You will see him interacting with some of the big guys down the line when it's ready. It's not ready right now. I think he's a little bit better than Great Khali, in my opinion, but he's still very young in his career. And trust me, I think WWE will groom him the right way, so I liked it. But in the end, Riddle and AJ Styles had a decent match, nowhere near when Riddle first came to SmackDown. But basically how the finish ended was Riddle had gone outside the ring, and he ended up right near Jordan. And basically, Matt Riddle looked very, very nervous, like, shit, I better get back in the ring.
I didn't like that interaction because it felt planned ahead of time. Like, I'm okay with Matt Riddle showing like whoa, I don't want to screw with you. But Matt Riddle showing fear, it kind of goes against the bro character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just don't see bros.
Bro afraid of bro.
Right. It didn't fit. Like, they should have had a different kind of interaction with him and Jordan to where it would have been like, gosh, how do I even think about this? Like, I guess I would have put it as to where Jordan tried to put his hand on Matt Riddle, and Matt Riddle would have been like, what the hell, bro? Like, that would have been the right reaction. Not like, oh, don't hit me. It's like, I don't know.
But the intimidation was Jordan didn't have to even lift his hand, and Riddle got intimidated. He went back in the ring and ate an enziguri, and then AJ Styles hitting a little bit of a sloppy Styles clash. Because Matt Riddle, at first, his arms were flailing like a fish, even though fish don't have arms, and he gets the win. Right away people think that Riddle's getting buried because of the lawsuit. It's just one match, everybody. Relax.
And this was also the introduction of a new character altogether, too. Yeah. I mean, they made it very clear that this match was more than just about AJ Styles versus Matt Riddle. It was to introduce Jordan.
Right. So, yeah. We already talked about it. Asuka beating Lana in 2 minutes. She tried. The match was exactly how we thought it was going to end up. I don't know why people, like I said, the whole week, I was totally baffled by that. There's a lot of other conversations to have, but the match wasn't even over for a second. And the next thing you know, we got Nia Jax's music hits. She comes out with Shayna Baszler. Nia puts Lana through a table. Shayna is going at it with Asuka a little bit. They end up bailing out of the ring, and then the next thing you know, we got this 4-woman tag match. Nia, they tried to do a little comedy tonight with Nia and Shayna on the microphone. I think tonight was a little bit forced. They were issuing an open challenge. We first got Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose, and I'm like, oh, fuck. Look at this women's division. That's the first challenge. But then Lacey Evans' music hits, and I'm like, okay, who is she going to come out with? And then I thought, maybe somebody from SmackDown. I thought maybe Natty. But she comes out with Peyton Royce, and I'm like, oh, like you said, could you imagine the look on Billy Kay's face when that happened? But then the fucking Riot Squad come out, and, we got what we got. And in the end, even though it was a non-title match, Shayna and Nia end up getting the win anyway. So, it's just, I don't understand why Riot Squad even was shown not even a week after the draft a week after the draft was completed. I mean, the fact that you're allowed to appear on Raw that quickly, I didn't like it at all. I want to see what they do Friday with it. It is what it is. Elias having the concert. He's got music coming out. We talked about it earlier. I liked it. I don't like music segments on the shows, but tonight I didn't mind it at all.
I'm okay with the music segments on the show sometimes. What do they? WWE talked about Holy Wars tonight, which is another relatively indie group that doesn't have a lot of. It's not as big, it's not like you're talking about some of the bigger bands. So I thought that was unique. Another outstretch of WWE trying new independent artists. So good for them for that,
Yeah.
But I've always been a fan of music segments and stuff like that. You really don't? You don't like them?
I don't. You know what it is? So many of the music segments lately have been disappointing or like teasing. Like I always, the one that I always remembered the most was when Fozzy and John Cena were going to go at it. And Cena does his rap, loved it, and then Jericho did nothing. it's like music segments usually end up with something stupid happening. Jeff Hardy coming out for the encore, I was fine with. But, for tonight, I was like, we haven't seen Elias in a while. I was more curious to see how he was going to diss the fans since we just had Thunderdome and not live crowd tonight. But I thought him doing the concert thing, I thought it was fine. I didn't mind it today.
As far as actual music artists coming out to WWE stuff, I've never really had too much of a problem with it. I might not like all the artists that come out for WWE, but overall I always thought that they were good. And I mean, when you really think about music being intertwined with wrestling and gimmicks, I mean, you can go back to Road Dogg, Jeff Jarrett, Honky Tonk Man. The list goes on and on. Rap is crap. Like some of this stuff is just absolute classic gold.
Yeah, that stuff was great. Yeah,
right.
But it's few and far between the good ones lately. So, Neil, your answer is no. So sorry. No, I'm only kidding. Shout out to Neil Ray. His dad Kanchan is in the hospital right now. Hopefully, his daughter's name is not Tanya, because my fiance's dad is in the hospital right now. He had to get a big mass removed from his liver. So, so we've been doing a lot of talk about hospitals lately, but I hope he's okay. I don't think we need to be told personally, publicly, I should say, what his condition is, but if you want to let me know privately, you know how to reach me. But trust me, everybody in the chat right now and everybody watching and listening, they're without a doubt going to say a prayer for your dad. So big shout out. I wonder, is he a wrestling fan? I'm curious if he's a wrestling fan. That's pretty cool, if he is. Even if he's not. So, but, shout out to your dad, man. And, thank you for the kind words, man. Like I say, I mean, some of what you tell me and others tell me, it really means a lot. It really means a lot, because we really, in the end, all we want to do is just have a great time, no drama, no hatred. I mean, of course we complain like everyone else, but, people, just make it a full-time job to do nothing but bitching and complaining. So, he's not a wrestling fan. Hey, that's cool. That's cool. My dad is not a wrestling fan. My mom, they'd be lucky if they even know who Hulk Hogan is. I'm not kidding. Yeah. I could honestly call my mom when we do breakfast soup. In fact, I'm going to be with them tomorrow. I could literally call my mom while we're doing the show. I'll call her upstairs and I'll be like, Ma, Hulk Hogan's on TV, and don't be surprised if she says, who? They know nothing about wrestling. My father Hogan definitely knows nothing about wrestling. I'm not kidding.
I've had this conversation on Soup a couple times about which wrestlers over the year have transcended the business. You really think that your parents, even though they're a bit older, don't know who Hulk Hogan is? They got to know who Hulk Hogan or The Rock.
You know what? My mom probably does because she reads all those Enquirer magazines, and Hogan, especially through his divorce, I'm sure that there was crazy articles in there. But my dad would not know. Trust me, my father's never watched No Holds Barred or Santa Claus Man or whatever, he did over the years.
Right. But he's a guy who's also been on all those different TV shows, Late Night Talk, like not just the cornball TV shows that he did. He's kind of, look, and I'm not going to take anything away from what he's done recently and the way people feel about him, but for the longest time, the guy was kind of considered an American icon.
Yeah.
American, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with everyone. I'm sure they know who The Rock is, but more for him as a movie star, not for being a wrestler. I mean, they probably know he was a wrestler, but for the most part, other than that, and you know what? My father would know who Jesse Ventura is. So well,
do they know the older guys, like, the Billy Grahams?
No.
Do they know
No.
What about, oh my gosh, Bruno Sammartino?
No.
Big New York Italian?
No.
Really?
No, even when Backlund signed my cast that time, and I remember when we went out to eat with like the Samoans and Backlund and others, and I remember coming home, Ma, look, he signed my cast, and she's like, who? She has no idea. She's one of those 70-some-odd-year-old Italian women that, you know, like, is more like doing crossword puzzles and watching Maury all day long, you know, and cleaning the house. Than she knows.
Bruno Sammartino. Bruno Sammartino, at least the way that I saw, I always figured that it was a little bit more, but Bruno Sammartino has always been painted as a guy who was above wrestling, and he was more about the Italian community, especially out there. So I'm kind of surprised that, you know, being strong and being a strong Italian figure yourself, and you know your father seeing a strong Italian figure like Bruno Sammartino, wouldn't know the guy. Like, I understand maybe he doesn't watch matches.
You know why? Because Bruno, when he was at his peak as far as press in New York, it was more the 70s, maybe a little bit in the 60s. And in the 70s, you know, we got cable TV in the late 70s. So at that time, my father's working 3 jobs and didn't even watch much of television from what I remember as a kid. So I don't know where he would have even seen anything about Bruno. I could honestly say that I've never in my entire lifetime have never heard my father ever say the words Bruno Sammartino, even when he died.
Damn. Dude.
Yeah, for real. And thank you, Neil. You know, and thank you also. Seriously, I really mean that. I mean, the fact that you all enjoy what we do, you know, that's the ultimate compliment. You know, I really do appreciate that. And, you know, that's what we aim for. And we're just touching the surface. You know, I can't wait to see what 2021 has in store. And remember, as soon as we get to 20,000 subscribers, we're going to start taking calls on the shows as well. So what are we at? 16,400. So as soon as we hit 20,000. So if you're not a subscriber yet, join the family, hit the subscribe button, and, you know, we'll get there soon. Neil's also said, why in the blue hell are SmackDown wrestlers on Raw? It's the draft. Storylines change brands. I'll tell you, something that I thought about that I know no one had really thought about was I want to see a little bit of a dynamic with Samoa Joe and AJ Styles again. You know, Samoa Joe is strictly commentary right now, but, you know, maybe they rekindle a little bit of a feud. I mean, I could possibly see something happening with AJ Styles, you know, his bodyguard, and Samoa Joe.
I love Samoa Joe on commentary. Look, I understand
he's excellent.
The guy a great in-ring presence as well. Obviously, he's a decent wrestler, and people really enjoy seeing him in the ring, and he has his following as well. But man, can we be honest for a second? Samoa Joe is killing it on color commentary. He does a fantastic job. He gets you into the match, and he brings enough of his personality that he can make snide remarks, and it almost kind of brings me back a little bit. Because it's the same kind of snide remarks, maybe not that Jerry Lawler does, where it's all just, you know, one crack liners and stuff like that, but almost a little bit like the Piper or Savage or Jesse, where it's just this like, yeah, this guy, you know, I don't know. I like it. Samoa Joe gets it. He's just a guy who absolutely gets it when it comes to how to convey these matches through audio to the people listening and watching at home.
Not to change the subject, but some of you are bringing up Halloween. This Wednesday, I will be dressing up for the show.
Oh, yeah?
I won't say what it is.
Okay.
But I will say that if anybody goes back to last week's episode,
yes,
where I talked about dressing up last Wednesday, a few of you gave me some ideas. And there was one that people put out there a couple of times. I got the costume. It's inside. I will wear it this Wednesday. I haven't decided what I'm going to wear next Wednesday yet. I don't know if I'm going to do it next Friday, to be honest with you. But, yeah, and Neil says, you're God sent. And, you know, here's hoping to 20,000. Look, we're going to get to 20,000. You know, like I say, and we're going to get right back to Raw, but I'll say this. I know I sound like a broken record sometimes, but, you know, I know some of you out there look at this show is like competition for other podcasters on YouTube. It is in no way, shape, or form trying to compete with anybody. I understand people like Jason Solomons, the JD from New York, Joe Cronin, and others. They have been on YouTube for years and years and years. They have their family that they have grown and built. And I would never, ever tell anybody out there, you can check out their show the weekend. Tune in to us tonight. You know, it's your choice. I will never, ever do that. Now, hopefully, you know, they don't look as me as trying to steal from the pot, because that's not the case at all. I've been doing this since 1997. We were going to do video many years ago and never did. My point is that, you know, when people try to compare what we do here to the other shows, I think that is very unfair on both sides, because no one is trying to stir it up with each other. And not only that, you know, you're trying to compare us. We've been here on YouTube for 8 months, where some of the podcasters you all bring up have been on YouTube for 10 years. So when somebody says to me, you only have 1/5 of blah, blah, blah has live right now, and I say, yeah, I would think so. They've been on YouTube for 10 years. Of course they're going to have a bigger audience and a bigger family. You know, we've just started. So, you know, even though I'm old, Mish is still a little bit of a spring chicken, but even though I'm old, you know, we just started. So let's hang around for like 3 years, 5 years. Let's build this son of a bitch up. We'll tweak shows, add shows, take calls, do this, do that. Things will probably look completely different. We'll add a new host here and there. Then once we get to like 50,000 subscribers, maybe more, maybe less, who knows? But one thing I will tell you, I can't say that we're the hardest working people around, because I know a lot of those podcasts out there bust their ass every single day. But all we ask in return is, if you enjoy the show, tell someone about it, like it, subscribe, spread the word. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down. Let us know why you don't like it. If you think there's something that we can do to improve or change, speak up, because we're always listening. We're always watching. We're, you know, we may not be able to respond to every single comment every single day, but, you know, we're out here for all of you. And, you know, when I see responses like from Neil and others of what you say, you know, it's a wonderful thing, man. It's a wonderful thing. You know, I'm not going to ever be PC. I may tone things down here and there. I might mature a little bit as I get older. But one thing you will always get over here, hard work and authenticity. You know, we just tell it like it is. And unfortunately, later on tonight, you're going to get more of those bad jokes from yours truly and the one-liners. I don't know if did you see the ones I did last week?
No.
The jokes, the COVID jokes? Honey, you can't spell quarantine without U-R-A-Q-T. Oh, he doesn't even know about the World Health Organization joke. Mish, you know what the World Health Organization is, right? WHO, yeah. Who? All right?
I do. Yeah.
They actually ruled last week that dogs officially cannot contract COVID-19. So all those dogs that were in shelters and were locked up don't have to be locked up anymore. They can be released. So just to confirm, who?
No.
Let the dogs out. Who?
No.
That's what I did last week at 2 o'clock in the morning. Tonight, you know what? For Neil and everybody else, we're going to mix it up a little bit. I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to do it right now for everybody. Couple more. They're not as good as last week. Unfortunately, I can't. You know what? Let me just tell them the Seth Rollins one from last week. Mish, Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch are about to have a kid. Nikki and Brie Bella just had a kid. What do you call Nikki Bella's, Brie Bella's, Seth Rollins and Becky's kids, in the year 2032?
I don't know what.
You call them quarantines. Get it? Quarantine? He turned the lights off. He's vaping. He's vaping. He's vaping.
Yeah.
All right, here's a couple of different ones. All right. Hey, baby. Honey, if coronavirus doesn't take you out, can I? Oh, it's so bad. Hey, honey, have you been tested for COVID? Because your body is sick. I want to treat you like COVID in New York. I want to flatten those motherfucking curves. What's my favorite drink? What's DT's favorite drink during COVID? Quarantini. They're bad. They're bad. All right, this one I kind of made myself. What does a brother tell himself when he wakes up late for work during COVID? All right, again, what is a brother?
Oh, man.
What is a brother? All right, here's vintage DT. And trust me, my brothers from other mothers out there, they won't be offended by it. And in case you didn't see earlier, Mish is my brother from another mother. But no, what does a brother tell himself when he wakes up late for work during COVID? What does he tell himself? He says, self-isolate. Get it? Isolate. What does a brother tell himself when he's late for work? Self-isolate. Oh, painful. For my German Donzilla army. And what do you call yours? The Soupies?
Yeah, I guess we just call them Soupies
All right.
now.
For our German Soupies and German members of the Donzilla army, they know this already. But for all of us that are outside Germany, right now, because they're about to do a second shutdown, they're stocking up all their shelves with sausage and cheese. And they're doing that in case of the worst case scenario. Get it? Worse?
Oh.
Brockwurst? One more. Yesterday, I ran out of toilet paper. I started using lettuce to wipe my ass. I think that's bad. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Tomorrow remains the same. It should be connecting. Hold on. Yeah.
I was saying, if you plan that, that's an amazing.
Okay. I think we're good now. All right. We're good. All right.
Green Cat, when it froze, it was perfect.
Yeah. Listen, everybody. On video, you probably won't even realize that there was any interruption. On audio as well, you will have no interruption as well because I'll edit it out. I'm looking at the time right now. It's about an hour and a half in. But for everybody who is back connected, and maybe someone in the chat could just tell everyone to reload a little bit. But my internet went out literally at the exact moment where I finished telling the jokes. So it's weird because here where I live, Spectrum, they do their maintenance usually between 12 midnight and 1 a.m. And there's been a couple of times on late Monday nights where the internet just goes out for a short period of time. So for everybody who is audio only, or if you're watching us right now on video, whether it's still live or on the archive, you didn't miss anything. But I had a brief internet outage here for about 2 minutes. So, so we'll get back to what we were saying before. But what I was saying was New Day came out, and during the night, we had various wrestlers, celebrities, Hall of Famers. They were guests on Thunderdome. This was something that I had talked about on Friday. It was the first tweet I wrote the first night at Thunderdome. I thought WWE should have wrestlers in the crowd, even though they're not actually sitting with people. But it was cool tonight to see Big E and Mark Henry and Ric Flair and others sitting in Thunderdome. I like it. I like it. But this was cool because New Day, Xavier Woods and Kofi came out, cut a promo, talking about, how they have split, but they are the Raw Tag Team Champions. Sheamus comes out, has a little bit of a dumb back and forth with the New Day, because after Xavier Woods and Kofi go through their shtick, which was fine, they're about to do the New Day Rocks, New Day, and Sheamus is like, don't say it. Don't say it. It was a little goofy. But this led to an outstanding match between Sheamus and Kofi. Big E was on Thunderdome, and he had no shirt on, and he's trying to be extra animated like the fans in Thunderdome, and Kofi gets a win over Sheamus. Are you concerned at all with the use of Sheamus over the last month or two, ever since he lost that feud to Jeff Hardy?
What do you mean concerned, though?
Well, he's always been, when he first came back and he was being a bully, making fun of Jeff and everything like that, like, he's in the best shape of his career. He doesn't have that many years left in his career, and it just feels like Sheamus, all his momentum that he had in the Jeff Hardy storyline feels like it's gone out the window, because it just feels like, what do you do with Sheamus right now? Is he just going to be filler?
Yeah, that's fine. And not everybody needs to be a champion. Not everybody needs a storyline at all times. Sheamus going out there and kind of just existing and going through the motions, not necessarily the worst thing that you can do with the guy. Maybe there'll be call for a storyline from down the road, but right now, him just filling up the slots and being a guy who's out there wrestling, I'm okay with it.
They had a fabulous match tonight. I don't want to, it wasn't one-sided. Kofi, hit his finisher, kicked Sheamus in the noggin and got the win. So Kofi did just squeak one out. But, I'll tell you, although I enjoyed the match tremendously tonight, now I'm saying to myself, like, what tag team is going to be the first to step up to challenge them to? It just feels like all of a sudden, like, they're on Raw, and I don't feel any tag team really causing any legitimate threat for those tag titles. It feels like they're not getting a match at Hell in a Cell. That's my point.
Might be the case. Kind of odd, because you'd expect them to put Kofi in a Hell in a Cell, but it is what it is. I don't think that they need to be the focus of everything. I'm okay with some people taking the back burner. Not everybody has to have a plan. We are entering, obviously, post-draft and a new season, so who knows where New Day is going to end up now that everything is kind of getting switched up with them and Big E,
Yeah. By the way, Ben, you didn't miss any of the show. My internet went out for about 2 minutes. The internet company was not having those jokes. They were like, no, you do that again, we pull the plug for the rest of the night. No, my internet legitimately, Spectrum here in New York does maintenance every so often, and for some reason they have this fascination of always doing it late Monday night between midnight and 1 a.m. I think a lot of people back in the day, when I used to say, look, we're going to finish the DTKC show early because my internet's supposed to go out, I think people thought I was just trying to find excuses to end the show early. No, it's legit. And you do a Twitter search on Spectrum, and just look on Mondays at midnight, and you'll see a lot of people complaining, why my internet out? So with the YouTube, the luxury is it pauses. So when the internet comes back up, it picks up where I left off. On the audio download, I have to do a little editing tonight just to clean it up a little bit. But you didn't miss anything. But, Kofi and Sheamus had an excellent match. I loved the animation of Big E in the background. Just over the top goofy, like when Kofi was getting a little bit of momentum back against Sheamus, and he's like this, and he's like with the whites of his eyes, and it was fun. It was fun. Like I said Friday, I think New Day as a threesome will be back together.
Oh, yeah.
In 2021. Maybe not all the time, but WWE's not going to resist once in a while putting those three together to maybe increase a rating a little bit. They're going to bump into each other on pay-per-views. You're going to see interaction with all three.
Sure. I could see it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Ali, with his promo, as we said earlier, basically threatening chaos, revealing he's the hacker. Miz and Morrison losing to Tucker and El Gran Gordo, as we said earlier. They have Otis coming out dressed like that. If you need a bigger version of it, it is what it is. I just feel it was fun, little comedic. I'm still annoyed how they're using Morrison. His win-loss record sucks. But what I'm left with tonight is WWE, as I said earlier, does not have a goddamn clue on what to do with Tucker.
Right.
I mean, if you remember, when they split Bubba Ray and Devon in the draft back in the day, didn't Devon come out as Deacon Batista? Holding the box for, or Deacon Batista was holding the box for Brother Devon. Right. They didn't have the Dudleys reunite a week later or put Devon or Bubba under a mat. They immediately transformed Devon's character, and he became Brother Devon. Yeah. I mean, you split up a tag team. You want to have people forget about that previous tag team as quickly as possible so you could move on with the change in characters. And they did none of that tonight with Peyton Royce, with Otis, with Tucker. I don't know. It was a fun match, but in the overall scheme of things, it just, to me, just leaves me with Tucker needs a tag partner. Without a tag partner, he's nothing.
Right.
So, we had the Firefly Funhouse segment, and, this was all set up to introduce Alexa Bliss in the Funhouse. I liked it. She looked cute. She always looks cute, but, it's a different extension of a character. We'll see where it goes. And as Brandon said earlier, Nikki Cross was on Raw, the after Raw, whatever they do, and we'll see where that incorporates with a storyline with Alexa Bliss. We had Keith Lee and Braun Strowman.
Yeah,
very confused about this because Braun Strowman gets the win. I thought they were selling him being injured from the Roman Reigns chair shots that's going to cause Keith Lee to get the win. But we had dual nut shots, one, I guess, accidental, one intentional. Keith Lee, what are they doing with this guy on Raw?
It's starting to look like the same thing that they did with Aleister Black. It's starting to look like the same thing that they've done with other guys. Is they bring them out there, they listen to the fans, they know that the fans want to see these guys, they see the popularity that they've had down in NXT, and they bring them up to the main roster, and they have no idea what to do with them. It's almost as if WWE doesn't even watch their own shows. Keith Lee is now at a point where you have a guy who's incredibly talented, an incredible athlete, and the people making the decisions of where he's supposed to wrestle, who he's supposed to wrestle against, the storylines that he's supposed to be into, seem to not care that he's a new guy, that he's a rookie, that he's a guy that should be out there making waves right now. It's almost like he's been overshadowed post-draft, and now we're just left with Keith Lee, Sheamus mid-card guy.
The monster versus the dragon.
Yeah.
I mean, all right, maybe they needed Braun to win this, try to recoup a little momentum from Friday, because Friday it looked so bad. The interaction with Roman and Jay, which I had talked about, was great. The problem is it took too long. So Braun is rolling around the ring as I compared it to a dog getting hit by a car, just like an injured dog. And it went on for like 2 minutes. And I'm like, that should not ever be with Braun Strowman. Yeah, it should never be. This is a guy that's lifted tractor trailers upside down and stuff, and 2 chair shots, tons of referees trying to break it up. Sure, it helped further the storyline with Roman and Jay, but they did damage, in my opinion, to Braun on Friday. And to try to repair some of that damage, they now created damage to Keith Lee, in my opinion. But then again, Keith Lee being pissed off as he was, maybe this is a character tweak coming. So if Keith Lee has a little bit of an attitude change, okay, then maybe it ends up working out. This looks like Keith Lee and Braun Strowman are going to have a feud for a while.
Yeah, so, could be, man.
Yeah. And then finally tonight we had Randy Orton. They brought the cell down. Randy Orton, with his usual, I'm trying to think what would be the right word, methodical promos, very deep, calculated, slow, just going through the motions, bringing up his history in Hell in the Cell. Before he could finish what he's saying, Drew's music hits. And Randy's kind of teasing Drew, you want to fight, get in its cage, but the cage was locked. And Drew conveniently pulls out, I guess, those cutters. And those were some of the weakest chains that I've ever seen. He just went snip and the chains disintegrated. He enters the cage. And before we could see any real beatdown, it gave me a Monday Nitro vibe, where it would just suddenly go off the air. They waited a little bit too long, and before they could really go out in the ring, we went fade to black. And I'm like, fuck. Should have did that a minute earlier. So,
right.
Yeah. So, Neil, I'm going to read your two super chats now. And then what we're going to do is, because we had a little bit of a lapse, we were exactly 1 hour and 45 minutes. So we're going to do a 2-hour show. So we got about 15 minutes left. First off, you got to take a hit for Neil. So I guess he means like a little toke of your vape. So
sure, man.
Yeah, for people that look, we know you vape. The reason why he goes black is because you're not supposed to smoke on YouTube. It's one of those quirky things with YouTube. Even when I showed the B12 shots 2 weeks ago in defense of Braun Strowman, like I checked what I was allowed to do. I was allowed to show the liquid, fill a syringe, show you the syringe, but I was not allowed to inject it in me, even though it's just vitamins. Not allowed to do that. So they got some little quirky things online.
Well, they've updated a lot of changes to YouTube too. I mean, we can talk about that tomorrow, but yeah.
Oh yeah. By the way, tomorrow, Mish and I will be on Patreon. We're going to do the regular breakfast soup show. It's going to be the regular format. Our VIPers and APs are going to submit content for us to set the foundation, and we'll build from there. So you're all welcome to join us if you want. And Neil says, hopefully in 2 years, he gets his cooking channel. You get your cooking channel, man. I will be more than happy to invade it, to give you some keto recipes. I actually, without getting to a whole long thing right now, a couple of days ago, made like a burrito bowl. And instead of potatoes, since I'm not allowed to have them, I had radishes. If you boil radishes for about 15 minutes and then you pan fry them in bacon grease, they taste the texture and the taste is very close to potatoes. If I made it and you ate it and I said that this was a loaded potato, you would honestly think it was potatoes. You would never in a million years ever think it was absolutely fabulous. Yesterday, for the first time, I've been on this diet since March of 2019. Yesterday, for the first time since March of last year, I ate rice. But I made it resistant starch. What I did was Saturday night, I boiled rice. I boiled it in water and 3 tablespoons of coconut oil. I let it cook on slow heat for 30 minutes. Then I put it in the fridge overnight. And then the next day, I cooked it again, and I ate it. And it did not affect my blood sugar. It did not screw up my ketones. I was able to eat a giant bowl of white rice yesterday. Real rice. So, yeah, I'll give some big time. And I'll give you those pasta gulaglia recipes, linguine with garlic and oil, pecorino romano cheese, fresh black pepper. Oh, my God. Can't wait to start recording some videos of that. So soon. But yeah, man, cooking channels. I'm subscribed to so many cooking channels online. You know, you'll hit a home run. So, and thank you for the kind words. Very quickly, since we only have about 11 minutes left, we're going to give you quick Impact Wrestling pay-per-view predictions. And then we're also going to comment briefly on the PWI Top 100 list for women. Some people were pissed off because WWE women took the whole top 5. But first, we'll just go through the matches for Impact Wrestling. They have Bound for Glory this weekend. Card does not look bad at all. They have the Call Your Shot Gauntlet match, and it's intergender. And the winner can choose a championship match of their choosing. The participants are AC Romero, Brian Myers, Havoc, Heath Slater, Hernandez, Larry D, Rhino, Taya Valkyrie, Tennille Dashwood, a.k.a. Emma, Tommy Dreamer, and To Be Determined. So I'm going to go with AC Romero. The amount of weight that man has lost, I just feel like, you know, they're going to give him a little bit of momentum. So sure. I'm going to go with AC Romero. I know some people out there think that a woman may actually win that match. I'm going to go with AC Romero.
You know, you talk about people losing weight and stuff like that. Havoc's been losing a lot of weight too. You know,
absolutely,
definitely building up a lot more than she used to. So I'm not sure actually who's going to win this.
Yeah, Eddie Edwards. Yeah, Eddie Edwards versus Ken Shamrock.
I would like to go with Ken. I'd like to go with Ken.
They're going to do the Hall of Fame thing. You know, they had The Rock make an appearance for him. He's got to get a win here and there.
Right.
So I'm with you. I'm going to go with Ken Shamrock in that match. EC3 versus Moose.
EC3.
Yeah, EC3. Absolutely. 6-way intergender scramble match for the X Division Championship. We have Rohit Raju, who's the champion, defending against Chris Bay, Jordan Grace, TJP, Trey Miguel, and Willie Mack.
I'd love Willie Mack to win it. I love Willie Mack in general. That's a guy who I've been rooting for a while.
I'm gonna say Rohit retains.
Okay.
It'd be interesting to see if Jordan Grace could win the X Division Championship. I think she's put in that match to just create a little bit of controversy because there's still a lot of debate online about intergender matches. So I'm going to say Rohit retains. Now we have, for the Impact Tag titles, Motor City Machine Guns defending the belts against the Good Brothers of Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson. The North, which consists of Ethan Page and Josh Alexander, Ace Austin and Madman Fulton.
Madman Fulton, maybe? I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure on this one.
I tell you, they just gave the tag belts to the Motor City Machine Guns. Somebody's got to win a title somewhere.
Right.
And I don't see it in the maybe the X Division title ends up with a title change. You know what? You could be right with Willie Mack winning it because I just don't see the Motor City Machine Guns losing the belts this quickly. So I'm going to say the Motor City Machine Guns retain.
Okay.
For the Knockouts title, Deonna Purrazzo defending against Kylie Ray.
I think I like Deonna Purrazzo. I know a lot of people don't. She gets a weird buzz online. I still like her. I think Kylie Rae's a better wrestler, but I think Deonna Purrazzo.
Yeah, I don't think they have. I feel bad when I say this, but it to me it's their Tessa Blanchard light. They have built her up and tried to hype her up where WWE got it wrong. And Deonna Purrazzo's uber talented. She's excellent. But the way Impact Wrestling has built her up, it's like they lost Tessa Blanchard, they got Deonna Purrazzo, and it feels like they took the rockets off of Tessa and put it on Deonna. I think Deonna retains. And then for the Impact Heavyweight title, Eric Young defends the title against Rich Swann. To me, that's not a main event match.
Not really, but Eric Young.
Yeah, the storyline is good, but I don't see Rich Swann as your Impact Heavyweight champion. So Eric Young retains. So for those interested, just a reminder, WWE is going to do 30 Days of The Undertaker. It starts Sunday, October 25th. They're going to start off with WWE Untold, The Phenom, and The Legend Killer. It's pretty much reliving their rivalry from 2005 with some interviews. And this 30-day thing with The Undertaker stuff, some of the stuff is repeated, but it looks outstanding.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't wait for that. It looks excellent. So you should all check that out. Remember, programming note, this Friday, SmackDown will not air on Fox. It's going to air on FS1 because of the World Series. And we'll wrap up tonight with Pro Wrestling Illustrated. It's not what it used to be, obviously. I don't even look past the top 25 because once you get to a certain number, they just put people in there at random. But they came out with their top 100 women from October 2019 to October 2020. And to give you the top 25, before I give you the top 25, I'll tell you some names that did not make the top 25. Some just barely, but some names that did not make the top 25. Alexa Bliss, Tegan Nox, Mercedes Martinez, Deonna Purrazzo, Ivelisse, Chris Statlander, Jessica Havoc, Candice LeRae, Mia Yim, Big Swole, Rosemary, Lacey Evans, Sue Young, Toni Storm, Shotzi Blackheart, Jamie Hayter, Penelope Ford, Natty, Peyton Royce, Sonya Deville, Kiera Hogan, Shaza McKenzie, Ashley Vox, Nia Jax. They did not make the top 25. In fact, Nia Jax was all the way at number 69. So, anyway, here is your 25 list from 25 to number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Number 25, Allison Kay. 24, Dakota Kai. 23, Bianca Belair. 22, Britt Baker. They ranked Britt Baker before Bianca Belair, albeit by 1, but just pointing it out. Kairi Sane, 21.
And
Nikki
Sisto and Mia Yim, all right, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're right. Mia Yim, they ranked 36th. 36th, they ranked Mia Yim.
Oh, this list is probably one of their worst lists ever.
Yeah. I think I don't even put any merit past number 15, to be honest with you.
I don't put merit in the first 2.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Becky Lynch was gone in what, May?
Well,
and they is from October to October.
Yeah.
And she was gone for May. How do you have an incomplete year and still end up at number 2?
Well, I'll get into the other numbers before we get to the top.
Sure. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Number 21, Kairi Sane. Number 20, Nikki Cross. 19, Kylie Rae. 18, Kaylee Ray. 17, Taya Valkyrie. 16, Nyla Rose. 15, Kimberly. 14, Thunder Rosa. 13, Shayna Baszler. 12, Jordan Grace. 11, Rhea Ripley. 10, Mayu Iwatani. Number 9, Io Shirai. Number 8, Rio. They ranked Rio above Io Shirai. Number 7, Tessa Blanchard. 6, Hikaru Shida. Number 5, Sasha Banks. Number 4, Charlotte Flair. 3, Asuka. 2, Becky Lynch. 1, Bayley. Your thoughts?
It's a bad list. It's a bad list, and they should feel bad for making this list. It's all over the place. Look, Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, 2 right off the bat that have had an incomplete year between where they do the judgment. So what they do is they judge us from October 2019 to October 2020. That's the year that they do all the voting. So everything that's happened in that time is what affects them being on this list. You're telling me Becky Lynch's incomplete year is better than Asuka? Everything that Asuka's done this year? Are you crazy? That doesn't even make sense. I'm not saying that Becky Lynch should be at like number 99 or nothing, but number 2, Charlotte Flair at number 4? She's been off TV. It's been incomplete. I don't like that. I don't like that because it shows favoritism in the wrong way. These lists used to mean something, and I'm talking about maybe back in the 80s, maybe in the early 90s. But now it's just, hey, let's put these people's names up there in order to sell some magazines because this is crap. Rhea Ripley's had a fantastic year, and albeit incomplete, but she's done a lot for her incomplete year too. And by that regard, Shayna Baszler has had an all-star fucking year, and you're telling me she's all the way down at 13? Come on, man. She became a tag team champion, graduated from NXT. It's a bad list. It's a bad list, period.
I'll agree with you on almost everything that you said. What I did do is I spent a few minutes over the weekend, and I looked up the number of matches that some of these wrestlers have had. And what I've noticed is that a lot of these wrestlers had spurts. There are some people on this list that have not had many matches lately because of COVID. So I think there's where the balance kind of, like, all right, Becky Lynch has been pregnant since May, but there's other women on this list that couldn't wrestle since May because of COVID. So I feel if you're going to put a big-time star at number 30 because they haven't really wrestled since May, then I think Becky Lynch might be not at 30 like you said, but maybe a little bit lower on that list. Right. Out of everybody that is on this list in the top 25, the one that I'm angered with the most, and this is going to be interesting because you and I have had debates about her repeatedly, and I have always said to you, I like her. She's a great star. She's excellent, but you could never have any investment in her whatsoever, and that's Rio. Rio has only had 15 matches since last year, approximately 15. And she is ranked above Io Shirai, Rhea Ripley, Jordynne Grace, Shayna Baszler, Thunder Rosa. Just because you're the first AEW Women's Champion should not immediately put you, at a certain number on the list. Me, what I would have done was I would have.
Let me. You know what? Before we get into this really quick, because I know you have something great to say about this, but let's review how they rank this list. The way that PWI ranks their wrestlers from October 2019 to October 2020 is they look at the criteria of the titles won, okay, quality of opposition, okay, big feuds, wins and losses, obviously important, overall activity, that we kind of get into the weirdness of Charlotte and Becky and everybody else. But the last one is the kicker, which is their reasoning, their I guess, justification for putting Riho that high is because it also depends on the push they've received by the promotion or promotions they work for. Yuck.
That's moronic. Then you know what? If that's the case, there are some names on this list that got no push whatsoever, and I don't know why they're that high on the list. But me personally, I would have put Asuka at number 1, and I would have put Bayley at number 2. I would have put Sasha Banks number 3, Charlotte number 4, Becky Lynch number 5,
Dude,
I put Tessa Blanchard number 5, Becky Lynch number 6, and maybe Io Shirai at number 7.
I am a Charlotte apologist, but she doesn't deserve to be in the top 5. No way. She's had an incomplete year. I love Charlotte. Like I said, I'll repeat that. I know people can't stand her. They think she's on TV too much half the time. But this year, this is not a Charlotte year. This has not been a great Charlotte year. And to put her in there as the top 4, they're just doing favors. That's all they're doing. I would not have put her in. I'm not even sure if I would have put her in the top 10.
Yeah. I'll say this. I don't have much of a problem with all WWE women in the top 5 for only one reason. Because of COVID, the 2 promotions that have had the most amount of work with matches, number of matches, has been WWE and AEW. So when you look at AEW's regular roster, I don't think of anybody really that I would put other than Hikaru Shida. Hikaru Shida was number 6. So I kind of feel like, okay, if you want to put someone in the top 5 that's not a WWE female, then I would have either put Shida or I would have put Tessa Blanchard. I would have put one of those 2 because, look, you just read the criteria. Even though things ended on a bad note, Tessa Blanchard making that kind of history in Impact Wrestling and beating some of the people she beat, from Brian Cage to others, even those people had a problem with it, how is that ranked lower, than, you know what I'm saying? So it just, I don't know.
Right, regarding personal stuff, which was horrendous, if you just take Tessa Blanchard's career momentum this year, yeah, she should have been a lot higher up there, period.
And putting Britt Baker above Bianca Belair, Momo Watanabe, Mercedes Martinez, Dakota Kai, Deonna Purrazzo, Candice LeRae, Mia Yim, Rosemary. Those are names that are in some cases, much lower than it's. This list is more of just a conversation piece. I don't put much merit into it. Although, I'll say this, when they chose Jon Moxley as number 1 on the men's side, a lot of people that were angry at the women's list were praising the men's list. So my point is that because you're a big AEW fan or a big Moxley fan, I'm not you, I'm saying for others out there, if you're a huge Moxley fan or AEW fan, you can't praise the shit out of him being chosen number 1, and then on the women's side, PWI stuff is shit. I haven't bought a magazine since when. You know what I mean? Got to either go both ways or none.
I watched the Bayley thing. The only way I can justify Bayley being number 1 is actually because of how much of a transition she's done from being a stomp and clap loved babyface to being this heel that she is today. It's such a dramatic change for her, and the fact that she's already making it work, it's impressive. Because when she first came out as the heel, it was very uncomfortable. She didn't seem very comfortable in the gimmick, and over time, her and Sasha, and look, and I've given a lot of praise to Sasha since she came out as a Jedi. Apparently, she's been taking acting lessons. She emotes better. She talks better. She's done a lot for her character, especially over these last few months. So Bayley and Sasha should be a little higher up there. Definitely like maybe 3 or 2, arguably. But I give both of those girls credit because they've done a lot with their characters when they really weren't expected to.
Right.
That's the only – I'm not a very big positive Bayley, positive Sasha guy, but I do recognize that these girls are trying above and beyond. And when you come out with these lists – and I know it's, once again, wrestling's fake, blah, 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 blah. Everybody's going to tell you that as soon as you start talking about the criticisms of these lists. But the reality is that these lists are designed to kind of convey what fans should be looking for. You know, this is almost like the stamp of approval saying best in the world right now, Bayley.
Right.
You know, so it comes with its own responsibility and weight too.
Yeah. You know, I don't want to start doing individual searches because I just tried to do a search and somehow I just switched the camera for a second. But Mickie James, I'm just trying to find Mickie James on this list. And I don't see her on here.
She's not on it.
I'm going down the list. Well, you know, she's actually been gone for almost a year. So, yeah, no, I don't. Mickie James not being on this list, I think, kind of makes sense because she's only had, what, 2-3 matches?
If they have incomplete, you know, Becky Lynch up there, why can't they have incomplete Mickie James up there?
Right. No, I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree.
Isn't better than Max the Impaler. You know, just saying.
Yeah. Before we go, any thoughts on WWE looking to sign Benjamin Carter? I know this is a big buzz on social media the last couple of days. He appeared on AEW Dark. I think he appeared on Impact Explosion. Now WWE's looking to sign him. My honest take on this, he's been in wrestling for about 2 years. He's extremely talented. He's from the UK. I personally think WWE signing him and taking their time, a couple of years from now, maybe he works WWE UK for all we know. I think it's a good signing, but the amount of publicity it's getting online, I think, is a little bit out of whack. He's very talented, but I don't think he should be a huge conversation piece for a lot of people out there. I know a lot of you wanted our thoughts on WWE looking to sign him. Yeah, it might be a case that they're pulling him away from AEW, but even if he signed with AEW, I don't see him breaking through and leapfrogging a lot of people at AEW, showcases every week. He ain't going above Sammy or Cody or Darby Allin or, any of the members of the Inner Circle or Guevara. You know what I'm saying? There's so many names you would have to leapfrog. So I personally think, it would be a nice signing. I think he would be a good fit for WWE UK, but I don't think it's anything that people should be losing their shit over because some people are just absolutely outrageous at WWE signing him.
Fair enough. Man.
Yeah. So with that, everyone, we'll continue this conversation on Patreon tomorrow night. I will be here Wednesday for Wednesday Night Dynamite. And, I thank you for coming on tonight and great show. No, for sure. And, I'll talk to you tomorrow and I'll help you with a little of those tech issues you were talking about earlier before, sure. Non-related to this show. So much love, my friend.
Take it easy, everybody.
Take care. All right, everybody. I'm going to get out of here because I got a little bit of editing and stuff to do just to fix that little internet outage a little bit earlier. Again, you're more than welcome to join us on Patreon tomorrow. It's a totally different show. It's totally different. Gets into a lot of deep, real conversation as well. I'm sure some people are going to want us to talk politics. I try to keep politics off of these shows, but if you can't join us tomorrow, remember, I will be here on Wednesday for Wednesday Night Dynamite. I will also be here Friday for the Don Tony Show. I'll be here for Hell in a Cell. We'll do the predictions contest on Patreon. I will be doing a recap after it's over. I'm not sure if I'll be doing a recap with Mish. I have to talk to Mish to see if he's doing one with Soup. If not, then he will join me and we'll do a recap Sunday night. Also, don't forget, Sunday afternoon, I am going to record the next Q&A. Believe it or not, it's already been 2 weeks, everybody, almost 2 weeks. So if you have any last-minute questions you want to send in that you want me to cover, on the replay of this episode, where I just pointed up over there, well, I can't point to Mish's category, but when I point up, you'll see a link pop up on the top, and that'll be for the Q&A if you can't find the actual video. And you can post questions, and I'll answer them on Sunday afternoon. But no Trump talk today. Maybe Friday, or you know what? Jody, post it as a question for the Q&A Sunday, and I will spend some time on it for sure. And that's probably the best way. So I don't want to trigger any anger, especially now where it's 1:22 in the morning, and we went a little bit later simply because of the tech issues, but we wanted to stay around the 2-hour mark, which we pretty much succeeded with. But I thank you all for tuning in. For you Oscar fans out there, don't forget Nick Winstead Art, great artist. He's got this custom Oscar shirt that I believe this goes offline in about 3 days. So if you want to pick up this custom Oscar shirt, to celebrate her career, go check it out. NickWinsteadArt.bigcartel.com. And I thank you all, as always, for the support. Much love, everybody. And once again, before you leave, if you enjoyed the show, I appreciate it if you could give it a thumbs up, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please do. Can't wait to get to 20,000, and we're going to do it organically. And also, remember, if you hit that bell that's next to, the subscribe, you'll get notified when I upload videos. So when I do the Q&A on Sunday, the minute it's online for everybody to enjoy, you'll be notified right away. So that's pretty much it. Everyone, enjoy the rest of the night, and I will catch you all again here on YouTube Wednesday after AEW Dynamite and NXT on USA. So take care, everyone. Have a great night. Ciao.